I read Nickel and Dimed by Barbara Ehrenreich. Nickel and Dimed is the story of an essay writer who went undercover as a low-wage worker to find out how non-skilled minimum wage workers make ends meet. The experiment took place in Florida, Maine, and Minnesota, with the author, Ehrenreich, finding a job and home in each state. The goal was to determine whether or not the author could both live off the money earned and have enough money at the end of the month to pay next month's rent. Ehrenreich started off in Key West as a waitress. The income she received from waiting tables isn't enough to support her and to pay the installment of rent, and so she takes on a second job working as a hotel maid. The two jobs become too physically difficult and physically demanding for her, so she quits and moves to Portland, Maine. Ehrenreich found a job with the Maids, which is a residential housekeeping service. The housekeeping position was also physically demanding as well as low paying, and she also felt that sometimes the job was too degrading. So after leaving Maine, Ehrenreich travels to Minnesota, where she attempts to find both a job and an affordable place to live. Because of Minneapolis's low apartment vacancy rate, she's unable to secure an apartment, but she does end up getting quickly hired by Walmart, putting clothing back on the racks. She finds a hotel to live in, but there's no bolts on the door, and so she moves to a nicer hotel. But her pay at Walmart isn't enough to support her in the nicer hotel. After leaving each of the jobs, Ehrenreich tells a few of the employees who she's become close to that the only reason for her being in those jobs is that she had been writing a book about the experience. She is surprised that there's never really any dramatic response to the confession, because the workers are usually too caught up in their own low-wage situations to show any, if at all, interest in her reasons for leaving. I think that Barbara's book brings up a side of the economic social world that most people often disregard as unimportant. It was very insightful to get a look at the lower class of the economic world and to see how people in a minimum wage setting can survive. In today's society, people are so caught up in their own personal belongings and personal wealth and how they can project themselves as wealthy or popular in society. We often take for granted the little luxuries of life that some people in the minimum wage, non-skilled, working class don't have. It never occurs to us to think about what it might be like for us to have to survive on these minimum wage payments. Ehrenreich's book really opened my eyes to the way I should handle my own finances and how I should go about conducting myself in the economic world. I've realized how important it is for me that I get a good paying job and secure a nice house and nice car and nice items for myself. Growing up in an upper middle class home, I'm accustomed to having these luxuries of life, plus more. Being an only child was very spoiled, and I've gotten pretty much everything I've wanted, and I could never imagine having to live in a trailer, or much less having to rent an unsafe hotel room because I was unable to afford a nice apartment or a nice house. I have a newfound sympathy for people in lower class, minimum wage jobs. You can never really understand what they're going through until you live in that situation. I mean, they have families and expenses that they also have to afford, and they're trying to do it all on a minimum wage job. When I am someday out on my own, I'm going to try my best to save money, spend wisely, secure the best possible job for myself in order to secure sound financial stability, earn a good salary, secure everything I want for myself and for my family.